Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone. I am Gerry Clonaris, and I'm going to be your host today as we discuss one of my favorite topics of the Christmas season, the three wise men. There's very little written about the wise men, and as is often in our church, there are more than one source for some of our information that we use. And in this case, there's actually four that we're going to look at too. The New Testament, of course, where it mentions the wise men, the prophets, the apocryphal writings, and iconography. Okay, all of these give an explanation of the wise men. All right, the first interesting fact about the wise men is they never made it to the stable. They actually arrived 2 years later, and that is why King Herod had all the firstborn 2 years or younger slain. And that is because the wise men were traveling from the east, or Persia, which is today Iran. So it was a 600-mile trip, and we'll show you that in a second. Also, because of that, there was, by this time, Mary had taken the infant Jesus to her home. And the Bible states very clearly in Matthew 9 and 10, the star led them to the house of Mary, not the stable, as the infant Jesus was now going on 2 years of age. The names of the wise men, we know their names as Gaspar, Melchior, and Balthazar. And we get this information from one of the major icons that we see often. This is an icon from the Basilica of Santa Apollinare Nuovo in Ravenna, Italy. And if you look across the top here, what do I do with it now? If you look across the top, you see Balthazar, Melchior, and Gaspar. Okay. Also interesting is look at their outfits here. Okay. They were wealthy people, and the wealthy people did not travel by camelback. They traveled by horseback. And we're going to take another look at that shortly with another icon. And the New Testament never even mentions those three wise men. We just assume there were three because of the three gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Okay. So let's take a closer look at this now. All right, here's where the wise men were coming from. Iran is the current country of Persia. The old name was Persia, was changed to Iran. And they're going from somewhere in this area all the way across the desert to Jerusalem, which is right here. Okay, 600-mile trip through a dangerous environment. Hot, of course, during the daytime is extremely hot and not good for traveling. So they traveled probably later in the day after the sun had set, and maybe in the early morning hours. Now that raises the question about the star, because it says they followed a star in the east. Well, the wise men actually traveled from east to west. So the star would have been over here in this area, and so it doesn't quite fit the story a little bit. So what we know is that there was a misunderstanding with, we got to keep in mind that the Bible was written in Greek, the New Testament. The Gospels were written in Greek. The confusion comes from the misunderstanding of the Greek word for east, which is Anatoli, because it has a second meaning. The second meaning is rise, to rise, Anatoli. So the wise men were following a rising star, which makes perfect sense as they were traveling across the desert and would have traveled in the early morning hours because of the heat. So there's our two of the facts that I wanted to present today. Also, here's one of the more traditional icons of the Nativity. It's got the complete picture here. Here you've got the angel speaking with the shepherds and the heavenly hosts, and you've got everybody. Here's Joseph on the side here, and here's Mary and Jesus in the stable. And off in the distance, here come the wise men. 1, 2, 3, here they come, off in the distance. See, they haven't arrived yet. And also note they're riding horseback. Yeah, the old icons, the traditional ones, show the wise men on horseback as opposed to camelback. Okay. But keep your camels, if you have them under your nativity scenes under your tree or wherever you have them in your household, that's fine. It's just a little interesting information for you. Okay, so what do we learn from the wise men? We learn two things. First, we learn of the incredible faith they have. Imagine what they did just because of the prophecies that they had read and understood. And I've listed some of the prophecies for you so you can look them up. We learn of the incredible faith they had to travel across a dangerous desert, all right, on a 2-year period. So giving up the 2 years of their lives just to go and present gifts to the infant Jesus. What faith they must have had to do something like that. And that's the kind of faith that they have established for us to follow. So they followed a star. We follow the faith that they had in finding the infant Jesus. And they also taught us, since they brought gifts, that they taught us that we are destined to serve one another. Okay, and that is a very important theme with Christ. He says, "I've come to serve." So it all starts with giving, not receiving. Okay, and those are the things I wanted to discuss with you today. Tune in tomorrow because we may have a bonus edition on the theophany. So, like I say, tune in tomorrow and see if we have that for you, okay? Otherwise, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all. Thank you for joining us.